We zijn terug met een nieuwe aflevering van podcast Rututaki bij Ryan. En vandaag gaan we het hebben over Vodou. Een geloofsovertuiging dat zich heeft ontwikkeld vanuit West-Afrika in Haiti. En we kennen eigenlijk de uitspraken die gedaan worden door heel veel mensen dat Vodou eigenlijk negatief wordt ingezet. Ook de beelden die we hebben gezien vanuit Hollywood, dat eigenlijk Vodou slecht is en niet goed is om te gebruiken in het dagelijks leven. Maar daarvoor hebben we vandaag dus een gast uitgenodigd. En die gaat ons meer informatie geven over het geloof, wat het inhoudt en wie hij eigenlijk is. Woosler Delisfort, if I spoken it correctly.
Yes.
Okay, welcome to podcast Rututaki by Ryan, where we are talking about spirituality and culture. Maybe you can do a little introduction who you are as a person.
Okay, so my name is actually Woosler Delisfort. So Hugan pretty much means Haitian Vodou priest. So Woosler Delisfort. I am a documentary photographer, storyteller, a griot, visual anthropologist. When it comes down to documenting African science, African spirituality. Born and raised in Miami, a community called Little Haiti, where a lot of Haitians migrated during the early 60s. I picked up my camera about 20 years ago because my community was changing. And back in the state, we call it gentrifying. So community was changing. I was noticing something was happening. So I decided to pick up a camera and began to photograph it. Okay. Then from that, no skills, never knew how to photograph, and then from there it just evolved to the person I became now. I went from documenting my community for like a couple of years to my spiritual mom at the time was just a woman I just met, told me to I haven't documented any tradition in the community. Okay. And that sparked something in me where I really wanted to tell that story. And from there, I just began to document tradition in my community. And next you know, I'm in Haiti, I'm in Cuba, I'm in Benin. I'm documenting spiritual all throughout the United States. I'm here in Suriname, just by picking up the camera and by documenting, telling the story about our tradition.
Talking about being a Hugan, where did it start for you with practicing Vodou?
So, I mean, that's a very layered answer, right? So I would say it started off with my parents. Granted, my parents were into the Catholic religion. My parents didn't quote unquote practice the tradition, right? But one thing I would say about them is that once like my grandmother or my auntie would come from Haiti and talk about Haitian folklore or Haitian spirituality, my parents didn't tell me stay away from that. My parents didn't tell me this is something evil, right? My parents, like, granted, we don't practice it, but this is still part of our tradition. It's still part of our culture. So my very first teacher never taught me this was negative. So I've never viewed our tradition as something negative. It was just like, okay, we didn't practice it. Then fast forward, when I got to meet my spiritual mom and began to document it, I remember going to Voodoo Center for the very first time. And it is a feeling that feeling is hard to explain or to articulate it. It's just a feeling where it's like a remembrance. Like I remember this feeling. I remember the drumming. I remember the song, even though it was my first time hearing it.
Your spirit noticed it? I remember the steps, the drums.
Exactly, okay. the drums and everything else. So I did that for the first 2 months, and I remember 2 months later, I ended up going to an Ifa ceremony. And again, Ifa is a different language. It's in Nigeria. It's based off Nigeria. And I remember going to a Oshun ceremony, and it was the same thing, same feeling. And it was at that moment I'm just like, okay, this is more than. I'm very connected to this.
Yes.
I'm very connected to this. So it just took off. So I did that for about, I want to say 11 years, 10 years, 11 years. And then I recently just got initiated. A couple months ago. And this is something I always tell folks is that take your time with it. you know exactly when it's time to do it. You know, some people could wait a few months and get into it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And people like me who waited years,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I always give thanks to my spiritual mom who never pressured me to do it,
Mm-hmm.
who never told me, okay, you have to get
Mm-hmm.
initiated within the first 6 months that we met, right? You know, she brought me to document some of these sacred ceremonies.
Mm-hmm.
Ceremonies I have no business documenting.
Mm-hmm.
Me going to Cuba, me going to Benin, and documenting, going to these sacred temples and documenting. And I remember while I was doing my initiation, and I asked her, why you waited so long?
Mm-hmm.
And she told me, honestly, once you picked up that camera, you was going through your initiation process.
Mm-hmm.
And everything makes sense ever since then.
Okay, and how do your parents look at your initiation as a hooligan?
So my parents see it, my parents have no problem with it. You know, they have no problem with it. It's one of those things where, again, this is who he is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my dad who's also a scholar, just view it as something that's part of his tradition.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yeah. Now, don't get me wrong.
Yes.
I do have family members who don't agree with it.
Yes.
I do have family who don't accept it. But I'm not in a position to debate my happiness.
Sure.
You know, that's one thing I don't do.
Yes.
Once you tell me you disagree with it, then it's fine.
Do you also have family members that look at you when you're coming into spaces? They look at you sideways. Have you experienced that?
No, I have not experienced that. Maybe friends.
Oh.
Maybe friends. Family members, no. I have not experienced that with family members. But again, I don't know what's in their heart. But you know, there's someone they knew me since I was a child,
Mm-hmm.
so they probably don't view that. Probably like, okay, well, he's into the practice now. I don't see him doing anything quote unquote crazy,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so I'm fine with it. But yeah.
Do you think that people judge the religion on basis of what Hollywood has shown
Of course,
over the decades?
of course. I mean, they, for example, right? I usually have solo shows, you know, photo exhibits to display my work. This is how I teach about the practice,
Mm-hmm.
let people see the practice. And I remember one time, I just came off this solo show down in Miami. And this lady was asking me, you know, she was asking me questions about the tradition, how I got into these spaces, these sacred spaces. So, you know, we're having a dialogue, someone of non-African descent. And she asked me, she was like, let me ask you a question. You're not afraid of this? And my automatic response was like, for me to say I'm afraid of it, it's like I'm saying I'm afraid of myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I asked her, why would you say I'm afraid of it?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, and it was just, you know, the voodoo doll. But voodoo doll was a Hollywood made up thing.
Yes.
There's no such thing as a voodoo doll,
Yes.
right? You know, let's be frank, like Christianity have done a lot worse to humanity
True.
than any form of African spirituality. You know, I love Islam, but Islam is also the same thing too. You know, at least the Western side of the tradition of the religion. So they have done more to harm the humanity than our tradition, but yet they still look at our practice as something evil, as something negative, as, oh my God, you guys are praying to the devil. And I'm like, no. Once you start beginning to study this tradition, you begin to see that one is nature based.
Yes.
It's us connecting with nature, right?
Yes.
That's the first thing. And also it's us connecting with our ancestors, you know? And also it's us connecting with our higher self, with our godly self. So once you understand, like, that is the foundation of our tradition, of the indigenous tradition, no matter if you look in Africa, here in Americas, once you start studying these traditions, all based on nature, ancestor, and our higher self, or our creator, then you begin to view it totally different.
Talking about you're living in America, where the judgment of Vodou portrayed by Hollywood, and if you look at series like American Story, Horror Story, you see that Vodou is being shown, but in a negative way. How long will you think that it will take to change this perception?
I mean, be honest with you, it's happening now. Like I was saying earlier, there's a lot of young folks who's coming out, who's dropping the Western side of when it comes down to religion, going back to the practice. No matter what you see on Hollywood, what you read, what you see on social media, they're going back to the tradition. So it's almost like, excuse my excuse my language. We don't give it, you
Yes.
know, about what you think about my practice,
Mhm.
right? It is my connection is way stronger than you think.
Mhm. Mhm.
And once you begin to really tap back into that, you really don't care anymore.
Yes.
You know, you begin to see this evolution that's happening among non-whites in America when it comes down to the tradition, right? Going against their parents, going against the system, saying that what you guys practice it is taboo, what you guys practice is devil. Like, okay, if this devil is what it is, me practice it is devil.
Mhm.
Like, you're hearing this conversation, you're hearing this backlash. Like, it is what it is. We
Mhm.
really don't care, you know. So
And what do you think will happen the coming years? Because it is already a change in the system or in the way people are thinking. But what do you see happening for the years coming?
for the for the years coming, I see a community who's embracing their tradition in a way that is going to make our ancestor proud.
Mm-hmm.
Is going to make our ancestor proud. Like, we're really being not apologetic about how we practice.
Yes.
You know, where you come into a space, you're seeing altars now,
Mm-hmm.
right? You come in, you're seeing us pouring libations to the ancestors.
Mm-hmm.
We're not hiding
Yes.
behind it anymore. For example, right, and this is this is well, I'll just say it. So in Haitian Vodou, you know, we pray. Certain tradition will pray to like white saints, right? Because that was the way how we hide behind our tradition, right? The white
True.
saints and everything else.
Yes.
But you're seeing people who are stripping that away.
Mm-hmm.
They're not using the white saints anymore. Like, why are we still doing that?
Yes. Also, in Vinti, there is also a change coming in getting the part of Christianity. We're getting that out,
Yeah.
and because they believe, and there's a group that believes. Why do we need some parts of
Ashe.
Christianity in
Ashe.
Vinti? Is if Vinti is also on its own a great religion,
Yes.
a strong religion
Yes.
to connect and to speak into.
Ashe.
Because if you are talking about the evolution about from where we are coming,
Yeah.
because in the 70s, it was still so that in Suriname you couldn't practice Winti, and that was by law.
Yeah.
And for a long time, people couldn't even get married. You couldn't
Mm.
get work. You couldn't get a good education if you were practicing Winti.
Yeah.
So most of the change that is coming now is because of people that have fought
Mhm.
and worked on getting this getting Wiki as an institution,
Yeah.
and now we have our Okomfo Fukondi that is the priestess in Suriname, Miss Doreen Babel. She
Yeah.
is the one that is the Okomfo Fukondi, and Okomfo Fukondi means priestess of Suriname on Winti religion. And we also now have wedding ceremonies that
Love
can take
it.
place in Winti by the state. So a lot has changed in the 50 years that Suriname will be later this year. But you can see that there are changes coming.
Yeah.
But you also see that there is more. We need to do more
More, yeah.
research, and we need to connect with our brothers and sisters from all over
Yeah.
Africa, the Caribbean, to know what are some of the practices that we don't use anymore, but they're still using
They're
it.
still using it. Yeah.
And there is a difference, but the difference, as you said, was in the language.
It's the language.
So how do you went to Cuba, you went to Benin, you came to Suriname, you're in Suriname. What are the other things that you can say? Oh, this is a little different, but it's the same purpose.
Um, you know, when I went to the Dahomey, the Maroon village here,
Yes.
and noticing the way they were practicing, like it's hard to break because I'm still doing research.
Yes.
There's certain items that I can't much pronounce yet, right? Because I'm still, you know, I'm going back and forth with my translator now as far as information on it. But there are certain things that I've seen in Haiti and I've seen in Benin. You know, the way I got a chance to not only document but also participate in spiritual bath and how they face the East That's something you see in Haitian Vodou. We'll pray to the east, west. Pray the four
Yes.
corners. And I've seen it also when they did
Yes.
that there. When I went to the spiritual bath. Um, be honest with you, everything is the same. Like I told you the other day, it's just the language
Mhm.
have changed.
Mhm.
Um, if they wasn't speaking, still like no obvious. I didn't understand some of the stuff they were saying, but I knew some of the stuff they was doing.
The feeling.
The
It
feeling,
was the
right?
feeling.
When the captain, when he was getting all the herbs, the plants, and everything else, like it's the exact same thing in the spiritual bath. Him praying as he mashing the herbs together. That's what you see in Haitian Voodoo. That's what you see in Ifa. That's what you see in Benin, all throughout the African continent when it comes down to our spirituality. So all those tradition kept has kept the same. The only thing was just the language barrier.
Mhm.
That was about it. But I knew exactly what he was doing.
Mhm.
From just watching him, just feeling him, just really observing and just bearing witness to what a sanctuary looked like for him. He was actually doing all the stuff that I seen in Haiti. I'm be honest with you, every morning, and I wrote this down. I had to keep reminding myself, I'm not in Benin, I'm not in Haiti, I'm here in South America, in Suriname. Just that feeling I was getting while I was here.
Yes. Going back to the part where Hollywood portrayed it, a photo as evil and negative,
Yeah,
that of the dolls, pinning of the dolls. I have read articles about the dolls, and I'm learning a lot about how African spirituality sometimes, when they are getting a sickness out of someone, they pin it to
yeah,
something
yeah.
and bury it. That was the
That was
reason
the reason. Yes,
using dolls. Still now in African spirituality,
you see it.
and you see it, and it is still practiced. How do you inform people that using dolls is not a negative thing? It can be used negatively by people that practice negative energy, but it's not meant to do negative. How do you
I mean, it's
explain
it's
that?
it's again, it's about who's open to have that conversation, right? Because you have people who just want to debate.
Yes.
Do you waste your energy on that, or you just keep it moving? So it really depends on who really, and you could tell someone who really want to know about the tradition,
Hmm.
right? Regardless if it's a non-white or non-black, like you could tell who really want to know about the practice,
Yes.
and you could tell who just like, nah, I just want to have a debate with you.
Hmm.
And the debate thing, I'm not doing.
Yes.
We want to have a conversation about learning about the practice. Let's have that conversation. They are, because I'm still a student of this,
Hmm.
so they are experts, they are scholars, at least from my community, who knows about this, and we'll sit down, we'll have that conversation,
Hmm.
and I have no problem with that. And even talking about that, right? For example, in my work, in my image, one thing I don't show in my practice is when it comes down to displaying my work, is someone being mounted
Hmm.
or someone offering, blood to the ancestors or the
Yes.
animals. I like to use the word sacrifice,
Hmm.
but give offering to that.
Often.
Yeah,
Yes.
offering to the ancestors. And the reason why is that there's nothing wrong with it.
Hmm.
We know the importance of, I like to say, dancing with the spirits, right?
Hmm.
Us getting mounted.
Hmm.
We know the importance of offering blood to the ancestors, right?
Yes.
Those are super important. But because Hollywood have shown that way too much, this is all we stuck on.
Hmm.
So the image I show is laughter,
Hmm.
it's portraits,
Hmm.
it's this beauty that I see in my tradition,
Hmm.
right? So when people be like, "Oh my gosh, you make voodoo look so beautiful," I'm like, "What it is? I
Hmm.
don't make it look beautiful.
Yes.
I don't put a special effects to it.
Hmm.
Like it is beautiful." So it's really depends on the person who's telling the story
Hmm.
to change that narrative of what our tradition is all about.
One thing you're talking about, the blood offerings in Vinti, we don't use that anymore because
Mm.
I'm doing research about that, how it came about of not using
Mm.
blood offerings. But what can you tell us? Maybe you can go too deep into the the knowledge, but why are blood offerings used in African spirituality?
Well, from what I understand, is what the ancestors used to fuel them with the we call the spirits of Loas or the Orishas
Hmm.
to fuel them. Um, but that's interesting. You guys don't do it here.
I had a conversation with someone and they said when blood was used, was only to fight in the time of the colonizers. So
Mm.
that was how blood was used to fuel the ancestors to go into
That's
fighting,
interesting.
go
I
into
love it.
hiding, because that is was the way of
Yeah.
survival. But now that I'm getting more knowledge about blood offerings, then I don't see that it was used for fighting
No.
the colonizers. So that is a
Yeah.
different
Yeah.
part of the how we practice
Yeah.
Winti here and how you guys practice Vodou. So that's something that I'm
Yeah.
still looking into. I want to know more about.
I mean, and also just look outside the African tradition. You have other practice where you also use blood,
Yes.
or even in the Jewish community for the kosher and everything
Yes.
else. Like you see, I mean, when you're looking at it, oh my gosh, it's a voodoo ceremony.
Yes.
It's the exact same thing, right? But again, if it's black, it is evil, it is wrong. Stay away from it. But every practice, you do the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just something when it comes down to our tradition, to our practice, is always bashed as something negative and
Yes.
evil.
Sure.
But I need to look into that. But again, it's me being here. Um, I'm a student. I've always been a student. I'm a student of history.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I just keep my clothes
Mm-hmm.
and just listen and just pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
Even studying, Winty here. Yeah, I want to know more about it.
Yes.
Because yeah.
Okay. So I will connect you to the people that are practicing Minty.
Yeah.
I'm doing research, so I can help you
Yes.
get the
Yes.
information what's needed, and maybe when you come for a longer time, we can have a conversation and go to places
Yes.
and visit the places that still have, because when you go to a village here, one of the old plantations, then you have different places,
Same.
sacred places where you give thanks and you bring offerings to the
Yes.
ancestors. So you have maybe one in the river, you have maybe one at the
Forest.
beginning in the forest
Yeah.
of the beginning of the village, where you have to give thanks to the
Yeah.
ancestors. So it is different in every village, because every village has its own rules,
Yeah.
have its own way of being in
Yeah.
connection with the ancestors and with yourself.
Yeah.
How are you doing that? Maybe it is by a cloth, or maybe it's by a sweet drink or whatever. You go and you, or maybe water. You go and you give thanks to. But also when you're going, you say, "Dembigis mami dorong baka." That means ancestors, I came back to the village, and
Ashe.
I'm introducing yourself again,
Ashe.
that I'm coming to
Yes.
enjoy I want to enjoy my stay, but also I want to learn more. So you have
Ashe.
to come and explain what are you going to do, because in some of the villages you just can't go and say, okay, I want to do
Yeah.
this, I want to do that. Before you enter the village, you
Yeah.
will get a roadblock,
Yeah.
and you cannot enter the village because the ancestors are not agreeing with
Yes.
uh, the thing that you want to do. So there are a lot of rules, but people, I feel like some of the people, they want to practice the African spirituality, but they want to do it on a Western term, and that is
Safe.
what they think that is safe.
Safe. Yeah.
Safe. So there are changes, but I want to help bring the information. Just like I'm talking to you, the experience is different. But when someone else is looking, they will get another
Yeah.
experience from you. So, how do you think we can connect all our knowledge and the people from different places to
Okay.
bring
Yeah.
freedom to the African spirituality?
So before I answer that question, I have to take it back just a little,
Yes.
because something you just said, right? So I didn't even know that. I knew that once you come into a sacred space, you have to give thanks to the ancestors.
Yes.
You have to give thanks to the gods, what we call the Loas,
Yes.
the Orishas, the gods that's all around. And the gods, I'm talking as far as, God of the river, God of the land, God of the forest, God of the sky. You have to
Yes.
give thanks, let them know that, again, I'm here. So it's funny you said that. Like, I knew that, and the minute I walked in, that's the very first thing I did. As I was walking from going with the captain, meet other people, but I was giving thanks.
Yes.
Every little footstep, I was giving thanks, giving
Mhm.
thanks, giving thanks, because I guess was the automatic thing. You know, I think once you really into the practice, you know, once you walk into a sacred space, once you walk into this, what we call a laku, I know you guys call it different, but what we call it is a laku, this sacred ground. There are energy that is around.
Yes.
And you have to give that respect, right? Because now you're coming to their space. No matter if I am a high priest, whatever the case is, I'm walking to their sacred ground. You know, and by doing that, I promise I'm gonna answer your question, but I really have to say this. So by doing that, maybe a couple of days later, we end up walking through the rainforest. 3 hours and half going, 3 hours and half coming back. So it was like on until 6 hours. The amount of, you know, you hear the same when people say, I feel energy, I feel spirits. While I was walking through there, you felt the energy or the spirits of the rainforest. You felt the spirits of the ancestors running around you. You felt the spirit of the animals that was welcoming you in, right? Where, you know, we have this thing called intuition, where if something felt like, oh, this is not good for me, like you automatically feel it, right? You might not say nothing, but it's almost like they was welcoming me in. You know, I was in trouble about it. I felt weird about it. It was just like, almost like a homecoming. Me walking through this rainforest. And again, it was part of me automatically giving thanks to the ancestors as I was walking to the village. So yeah, I had to say that because when you brought that all that kind of, because right now I'm still like articulating everything that's happened to me while I was there. So piece by piece, oh my God, the aha moment that just happened. But to answer your last question, honestly, we have to connect the bridge. While I was in the village, you know, I was sending videos to my spiritual mom. You know, she want to come. You know, she's a high priestess in Haiti. So she want to come, and also we want to bring the captain to our village too, so he could see it. You know, also do a connection in Benin. You know, Dahomey, like Benin, Dahomey, that's the original name. You know, so it's really as far as like us not looking at everybody else, but looking within ourselves and connecting with each other, and really just follow up. You know, we coming here, you guys coming to us. You know, this ancestor knowledge is all the same thing. Believe it or not, again, it's just us speaking different language. And once we connect those dots, then we begin to see something totally different that our ancestors wanted to see.
Yes. You have a question from me. I'm listening. Do you want to do it right now?
I've been talking so much. I forgot what the question was. It'll come to me.
It'll come
to me. Yeah.
Talking about your experience, your history. Now you went to the village Dahomey. That is one of the. No, let's talk about the sacred places. Spaces. What do you see as a sacred place, a space? Because when I'm at home, my room is my sacred space. When I go to a different place, there is another sacred space for practicing of a religion, not also the religion, but just coming into a new space. How do you explain that in spirituality?
So sacred spaces and spirituality is what you make it of, right? Everyone's sacred space is different. There's no holistic words. It's like, okay, this room is the only sacred space in Haitian Vodou. Like, no. Obviously, we do have a spiritual land, or in Haiti we call it Lakoum, our ancestor land, where we do all of it, you know, do the rituals, connect with ancestors, connect with our higher self. But also, you can have your room, you can have your altar space there, and also the African or the indigenous way, we have always used nature as a form of sanctuary. So the beach, the forests, the rainforest. You know, states we call it the park. You know, something was nature based where you have all of it right that's there. So it's really, what is sanctuary to you? What does it look like? What does it feel like? I can't tell you the beach is the only sanctuary. Like, no, it's really up to you. What is sanctuary? Where's your safe space? Where is your safe haven? Where you feel more connected to the ancestors. You know, I feel more connected to the ancestors when I go by the water. Like, I love the beach. I have to sit by the water. This is how me and my ancestors, this is how me and my higher self, this is how me and the spirits really communicate with each other. You know, and I have a special time, right? Like me, it's late at night. when no one's there, and this is how I really communicate. This is when my eye chakra, all the chakras are opening it up for me to really communicate with the spirits and the ancestors.
Looking at the way you are going through the world as a Hogan and come to share knowledge and experience also the different forms of African spirituality, what do you want to give the world in return of gaining knowledge but also sharing knowledge?
Um, whew, what do I want to give the world? So my work, yes, I am a Huga, a brand new Huga, who's even I've been documented for so long, but I just got into the practice, officially got initiated. But what I really want to give to the world is looking into turning my practice, unfortunate because it's been demonized for so long,
Yes.
showing the humanity into it. And that's what I want to give to the world. That's my offering, right? That's my offering to the ancestors. For way too long, they have looked at our tradition, our science as something negative. I want to be part of that conversation where 50 years from now, 100 years from now, people will look at my work and see the human, right? The things we see
Yes.
with our two eyes,
Yes.
right? But everybody else don't see. So I want them to see the actual human in my work, in my image, hear the human side in the audio when it comes down to the ceremony. So yeah, that'll be my offering to the world.
Seeing that different kind of people are practicing now African spirituality, you also see white people practicing African spirituality. How do you feel about that? Because you see sometimes that in other religions, the practices that they are doing are are based on African spirituality, but the demonizing of it and keeping African people from their spirituality was one of their main goals
Yeah.
in their lives. How do you look at that? That people are
Um,
embracing the Ifa or
yeah.
uh, Yoruba and spirituality. How do you look at it?
It's interesting. The same group of people that told us to stay away from it, this is evil, is the same group of people who's going embracing it. It's it's one of those things where it's just like, you walk into a space where it's ancestor based, right? And I do ask questions. And also, one thing my grandma used to always tell me: do not debate with anyone happiness, right? So I will not go in and look at, "Well, why are you practicing? What you doing? Why are you here, right? But in my head, I'm just like, why are you here? And maybe it is a higher calling. Maybe
Yes.
so I won't question that part, but
The why is still a question.
yeah, the why is still a question because I'm all about a space. And again, I know outside the states, outside the United States, race is not really an issue. So in the United States, it's such a big issue, right? So when I do walk into a space where it's ancestor based, people that look like me, but when you begin to see other people that don't look like you in the space, then you begin to ask yourself why you're here.
Yes.
And it's something I am battling with. It is something I'm having a conversation with myself with. But also, it's something where it's okay for me to ask those questions too. Because at the end of the day, like, regardless if it's not you, but your ancestors had demonized it so much where my family members looking at me wrong. When my family is telling me, like, why are you doing this, right? And now you're picking up a science that our ancestors gave birth to. So, and you also have, because I study religion, you have your own form of spirituality. You have your own form of tradition. So, it is a question. It is a question I continue to ask. I'm just like, well, but
Does it trigger you in a way that your spirit is a little rebellious against?
No, it's, and I know people, yes. I know some folks, yes. With me, it doesn't because I don't let those bother me. I I know my bigger calling. I know my bigger mission. Um, I know what I need to do. I know my assignment. We like to say, knowing our assignment. I know my assignment.
Yes.
Coming back into this planet. I know my assignment. I know what I need to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't let those things bother me to a point where I'm like, oh my God, I can't photograph. Oh my God, I can't go to these ceremonies anymore because now I'm seeing a whole bunch of white people come into this space. It's just more of a question because again, once you understand African spirit, it's very ancestor based.
Yes.
So you just ask yourself, which ancestors were doing this?
Yes.
And also, why are you doing this? Is it because something's cool? Is it because you want to rebel from your own family and show that you're taking up this black space? Like, what is it? And you just have to deal with that with your ancestors.
Yes. Talking about, there was just a question in my head about how do I say this? Not how do I say it. I'm thinking of the question just was in my head about. We talk about the spaces. We talk about other people joining our spaces. How do you go around about? Yes, I have the question now. It's in Binti there are different types of prisoners, hugans. To explain this in the better way, we have lukumang that are those that have the spiritual out to see, but they cannot. They can see and tell you things about your past and the future, of what you need to change to do better. But then we also have the obiamang and we also have the bonumang. And the bonumang literally means the healer.
Yeah.
And the obiamang, he is also a healer, but he is more on the virtue of the bigger spirits and the fighting spirits, the protecting spirits. How is it in Vodou? In Vodou, are there also different kinds of priests?
Yeah, so it's quite different priests, different level of priests and priests. Same thing, it's just different breakdowns of it, different titles. The higher you get, yeah, so it's about the same thing. So.
Oh, nice. So I didn't know that. That's why the question came into my head. Okay, do you maybe have different levels of priests?
It is definitely different levels of priesthood and priestesshood. And also, and I'm not sure over here if you guys do the same thing too. For example, so practitioners also sit with different energy, right? Like for example, I sit with Dambala. Dambala is a serpent. So that's more the connection I have. You got some people who's sit with Yamoja. Yamoja is pretty much the mermaid, right? So I'm not sure if you guys do the same thing here too.
Yes, we have the same thing, but with every village is different. With every family, it is a different kind of spirit that is the leader in the family or of the plantation or the village now. So you have maybe my family, for example. I cannot exactly say which kind of spirit is the leading one, but you have also from other families is the Vodou. The Vodou is like the serpent ancestor. But other families have it a little different. They have what we call a winti also. A winti also is just an ancestral home for the spirit, where they maybe have a serpent and made out of clay at the top of at the entrance. That is for the serpent goddess of God. But on the other side, you have an ancestral home for the Watramama. What we call the Watamama?
Oh, okay. Mommy Wata.
Mommy Wata, yes. So we have different ancestral homes in the villages. But in Paramaribo, we don't do that. What we have is that you have what is called a posu. A posu is a place where you have different kind of flags that we plant into the ground.
I seen that when I was driving around.
Yes, that you have the Hindus have it at the front.
Okay.
But African Surinamese have it at the backyard.
Haiti too.
And they have sometimes you have how do you call this in English? I know it in Dutch and in Sralantongo. how you call the are not ants, termites.
Termites, yeah.
Termite houses
Yeah.
are used as one of
The base?
like a base, but that's for the fantasy for the one of the bush gods.
Mm.
And that sometimes is there. You have a lot of we use a lot of things of out of nature to build such a posu, such a home for our
Wow.
ancestors at the background. But in the village, you have an ancestral home where families, every family had a healer.
Yeah.
But those kind of practices, I see that it changes a lot. But I see that some of the families are going back to that base
Yeah.
where every family has their own healer, has their own seer in the
Yeah.
family that can help heal the family from trauma, from problems be in the bloodline. So there are people, but we need to go back to that connection to
Yeah.
make that connection again here in Suriname. That is what I have observed, but I don't know how is it in Haiti.
So in Haiti, I mean Haiti is pretty much is same what we're using. Because I know the flag is interesting enough as a sister of mine. She sent me a video. I'm not sure if it was Benin or it was in Haiti of the flags that was up.
Yes.
That's where you know if you're coming to a voodoo temple.
Mm-hmm.
I have to confirm that. And I remember when I seen it, like, hey, I'm seeing flags here too. So we're just exchanging ideas because it was like 2 days me coming here.
Mm-hmm.
I have to look into that. But something I want to say. Going back to your role as a practitioner.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're talking about as far as like, you know, our role as a practitioner, you got healers, you got people that are able to see.
Yes.
And honestly, that was my biggest fear when it came down to be initiated, because, you know, the title of a hooligan is huge, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm just a photographer. I'm just
Mm-hmm.
photographing.
Yes.
Like, I'm not trying. I'm not trying to heal no one. I'm not trying to put no herbs together. And I have nothing wrong with that. I could see myself doing it to my children, but that was my biggest fear. That was kind of what was my hesitation for so long, also too. And interesting enough, maybe 2 months before I got initiated, you know, I was talking to my spiritual mom, and I gave her some of my uncomfortable conversation, like, well, you know, I don't know if I want to do this because I don't want to be a hooligan, because I have to do X, Y, and Z. And she looked at me like, no, you're healing folks with your camera. You know, you're doing the work as an artist. You know, you don't have to like do, you know, all this stuff you think you have to. Maybe something might come out of it, but what you're doing right now is exactly what you need to be doing.
Yes.
And so I want to say that because, you know, sometimes we focus on the obvious.
Yes.
As a priest, I need to do X, Y, and Z.
And you
right?
maybe have to let go of some of your
Yeah, you got.
I know that conversation.
So, but as a scholar, you know, you could be that's part of your quote unquote magic.
Yes.
You know, as an artist, that's also quote unquote that's part of your magic too. You're just really enhancing that now. Now you're not just coming as a photographer. Now you're coming as a hooligan who tells stories about spirituality. That is my magic. This is how I heal folk. This is how I have people come back into our tradition. So yeah, I want to say that.
Okay, nice. Because talking about that experience, because when you hear, I think it is something like when people tell you, okay, if you're a hooligan or a priest, you need to let go of this, and this, and you need to be doing this. I think that is something that if people hear it, they struggle with it.
Yeah.
Because what do you need to let go of? And why do you need to let go of it? Is this a conversation that you had with your family?
Yeah, I mean, it is a very uncomfortable conversation, but at the same time, we have to understand that we're always evolving. Our tradition is all about evolving,
Yes.
and also embracing your evolution. You know, if it's something you have to let go to continue your growth, then that's something you just have to do to continue your growth. This is not, oh, I need to abandon my family, because our tradition is not all about that. We're not going to ban our family. We're not going to, you know, stop feeding up, make sure our children are being fed. But there's maybe certain things where, because I'm going to evolve. And honestly, and that's another issue I think I was noticing amongst young people who was, even myself too, is really embracing your evolution.
Yes.
Because now with this new evolution, you're not recognizing this person you're becoming. So sometimes it could even fall into depression because, oh my gosh, I'm changed to this person. I don't know who this person is. But once you begin to embrace that evolution, accept that evolution, and accept that growth, then you're able to really move forward with it.
True. I think people forget that being spiritual is that sometimes it can be a scary place. And
It is not sweet.
no,
It is not. Lord is not sweet.
and they think it will get smooth because you're making a connection with your true self,
No,
but it is not that sweet.
it's not sweet. It's not really sweet.
So I think people are sometimes scared where they back off.
Yeah.
They had something like, okay, this is not what I signed up
Yeah,
for.
yeah.
How do you look at those kind of people that were practicing, then they get out, and a few years going through it, they start again.
Yeah.
They get confronted again with
Yeah.
the truth, with the facts.
It's look, I mean, don't get me wrong. I get it. I get the fear. Like I remember right before I got initiated, a lot of people were like, man, you're gonna go through a lot. I mean, it's just going to be your initiation is not going to be sweet, right? The first month after my initiation, it was perfect. Oh my gosh, I was in love. This new me. I'm excited. Then right after that, I just fell on my face, slapped in my face. I mean, I was going through it. I could not understand what was happening, and I had to. And I remember, not to get too deep into it, but I remember just, calling my spiritual mom, calling my spiritual sister. No one is picking up. For days, no one is picking up, right? And I just cannot figure out what is going on in my life. Like, everything is not aligning. I just did my initiate. Everything was great. Now I'm just kind of going through it right now. And she did. My spiritual mom didn't pick up. And I remember going to sleep and just, like, praying, like, what the hell's going on? And something screaming in my head, like, no, tap into yourself. You know this practice. You know some of the work you need to do, right? So I woke up, I did all my rituals, went to the beach, did all my rituals, and I began to, I was fine. I remember calling my spiritual moms. Well, I knew something was happening. I didn't pick up because I need you to go through that by yourself. This practice, it is lonely. Yes, you have your spiritual community to talk to have conversation about, to learn about the tradition. But also, it is a road where it's just you and your ancestors. It's legit a road, regardless through dreams, daydreams, or even during this real time, you're going through it by yourself. And there's an old saying that, the Creator would not give you the Creator would not ever give you nothing that you cannot handle.
Sure.
So you have to look at it like that. You're going to have those moments. But once you get over that hump, there'll be quite a few humps. Because we hump, smooth road, and hump. But once you get off that first hump, that smooth sailing, then it becomes that pattern. Okay, I get it now. Tap into myself. Maybe you need to get away, go back to the village, go to the forest, go to the water, and just sit down for a couple of days, a day or two, depending, and just really isolate yourself from everything else. So there are things you're able to do. You have to face it, And if you do get away from it for a couple of years, it's fine. It's okay to start. As long as you're breathing, you're able to start over anytime. That's how I view it.
Okay. To do the closing part,
Yes.
what do you want to give to people talking about Haitian Vodou? What is your message to the world? Because we talked about a lot, talking about spirituality, talking about your experience, talking about my experience. What do you want to give the world?
I mean, what I want to give to the world is that our tradition, not just Haitian Vodou, right? Just African spirituality or the indigenous spiritual, our ancestors' tradition, right? It's us connecting back with nature. It's us connecting back with our ancestors. It's us connecting back to our Creator. So if you're listening, regardless through watching the video or listening to the audio, and that itch of you want to tap into it, understand that it's in your DNA. It's really in your DNA. And once you tap into that, then you begin to understand that everything they have taught you about what your ancestors have been doing thousands of years before a Yahshua, who called Jesus Christ, even walked this planet, they were doing this.
Yes.
they were doing this. So it's just you coming back into this. So it's just me having conversation, me telling folks who's look like me, it's okay to come back. It's okay to come back.
Yes, thank you. We hebben gesproken met meneer Woosler Delisfort. Hij is een Vodou-priester, geboren in Amerika, Miami, en heeft in een gemeenschap in Little Haiti in Amerika, heeft hij toch wel zijn voetsporen kunnen plaatsen in het geloof. En hij heeft ook dus beelden kunnen vastleggen. Dat is dus eigenlijk zijn periode geweest van initiatie binnen het geloof. U heeft hem horen praten over zijn bezoeken dat hij heeft gedaan aan Benin, aan Cuba, in Suriname, Dahomey. En dan heb je ook nog weer wat het zelf betekent om in deze spirituele reis te gaan. Ik hoop dat met dit interview u meer informatie heeft kunnen krijgen over wat eigenlijk Vodou is en wat het geloof inhoudt en hoe het gepraktiseerd wordt. Er zijn niet heel veel verschillen, alleen het verschil is dus de taal. Maar je heeft kunnen horen wat zijn ervaring is en hoe hij dus kijkt naar Afrikaanse spiritualiteit. Voor nu bedank ik en we zijn de volgende keer terug met een nieuwe gast, ook met meer informatie en kennis over spiritualiteit en cultuur.